Welcome, everyone. I'm Cory Davis, Artistic Director of One Voice Chorus here in Charlotte. And today we are talking to Steve Milloy, composer of Sincerely Yours, Pauli Murray, a powerful multi-movement choral work that was commissioned by a consortium of Gala Choruses, including us here at One Voice. And the piece traces Pauli Murray's extraordinary life through music, decades, musical styles, and intimate stories about her journey. And we are so excited to hear directly from you, Steve, about how this work came to life and what it means for singers and audiences today. So I'm just going to ask you some questions and we'll go from there.
All right.
So, my first question for you is what first drew you to this story and Pauli Murray as someone whose life needed to be shared through music?
Well, I will have to say it was Jane Ramseyer Miller, former director of One Voice Chorus in Minneapolis, who brought it to me. I had never heard of the woman, and I wouldn't have the rights that I have, and many women wouldn't have the rights that they have now if it wasn't for her and the work she did behind the scenes. And she lived her life. Um, really struggling with her sex, not so much her sexuality, but how she identified. In her time, she was called she, and out of respect of the family, we still call her she and her. But would her pronouns be different today if she were living? I mean, she thought that maybe she had testes that hadn't dropped yet. She was put in psychiatric institutions because they just didn't know what to do with her. But yet, this brilliant mind created all of this poetry, all of these papers that were the basis of Brown versus the Board of Education and Reed versus Reed. Of course, Brown versus the Board of Education made schools equal for everybody, not just separate but equal, period. And Reed versus Reed was a wonderful case that made there was a married couple who were separating, and they were wondering who should get the rights to the estate. And it came out that equally they should both get it instead of just a man getting it, which is what would usually happen.
Oh wow, that's amazing. It's incredible that this is now a thing that we can share. Also wanted you to know that we were able to go to Polly's childhood home up in
Oh,
Durham. Like we took a little chorus field trip and it was really interesting and I think meaningful for our members to be there. That was not a question, but thought you might like to know that. And so for anyone who's just experiencing Polly for the very first time, um, you kind of already answered this, but is there anything specific that you'd want to highlight about her or just like for someone brand new to her story?
if you can, please read her books, Proud Shoes. There are some wonderful autobiographies, and there's also a book of her letters that she shared between herself and Eleanor Roosevelt. So she, you know, was very influential to a lot of high up people. And she's a person that we should know about. The scary thing is today, a lot of like her childhood home, and also I think there is a museum center. All of these things are trying to be taken away by our current administration. And it is important for us to keep that history alive. And I think people really should know that more than anything, is that we need to stop the current administration from taking away histories that we're just learning about. Sometimes
Man.
history is ugly. And sometimes we gloss over the people who really pushed us forward. I feel that the current administration wants to push us back.
Next question is about the storytelling that you did through the music and sort of like how you used all kinds of different styles of music, different pieces that you weaved into it. And I just wanted to hear you talk a little bit about that and how you made some of the decisions to include those pieces or put them in there.
Sure. I every this is I guess the second full cantata or whatever you'd like to call it, American dramatic cantata that I've written. The first one was on Bayard Rustin, and I always feel that you should write music that corresponds with the age in which they were living. Now, sometimes we do stray away from that, but I want you to feel like you're in their place, in their shoes, in their time. And sometimes in order for you to feel like you're in that person's shoes, sometimes we have to go a little beyond that time, or a little just out of the realm, like when she's going into a mental institution. I try to envelop and try to encompass myself in the time in which they were living, and hopefully the music follows that timeline throughout their life.
I just think it does a great job of sort of seamlessly flowing through different styles, and it's just really great. Was it important to include music that mattered to Polly? I suppose that is a slightly
Yeah,
different
that
question.
is a
Yeah.
slightly different question. Um, it again, that was music that she identified with, and especially in where this music is placed in the cantata itself, it speaks of a specific time and a specific moment, and a specific relationship between her and Rennie, this woman that she spent most of her life with until Rennie's untimely death from cancer. Um, and also civil rights songs that would have been around during her time. That speaks, again, as I said in the earlier answer, to the time in which she was living.
There's movement five, that's Hold On.
Hmm.
Is there a reason why you decided to put that one in the center?
It's just one of those songs of the civil rights movement that has always spoken to me. And we knew in this work that we wanted a spiritual. And it was between this one and another one, which I cannot remember now. But Hold On really speaks to her and the fight that she had throughout her life. Being black and female, all she could do was just keep her hand, keep her eyes on the prize and hold on and keep, striving forward until those rights were achieved.
Indeed. Yeah, we've programmed obviously your piece, and then in the first half we're doing Rollo Dilworth's Freedom's Plow, which has that song quoted as well. So it's an
Yes.
interesting sort of juxtaposition that I'm going to point out to the audience. um,
And just to share its story, Rollo and I met each other when I was in my mid 20s. Before he became the
wow,
Rollo Dilworth, he was playing at a Catholic church in St. Louis, Missouri.
wow.
And then years later, all of a sudden, he's published by Hal Leonard and clinician and doctor and all over the place. And I'm so happy for him.
Thank you for sharing that. So I know you weren't necessarily the one who decided this in particular because you had a librettist and obviously Jane who helped with other aspects, but the piece includes the two narrators who play different characters throughout Polly's life, as well as the chorus. And we were just wondering how those voices work. Like, what was your imagined role of the chorus and the narrators in telling the story?
Well, for me, the chorus is always the main storyteller. Because it is a choral work per se, but sometimes they do act as a Greek chorus responding to what the other soloists are saying or doing, or expounding on what the other soloists are saying or doing. As far as the narrators are concerned, or the story guides, um, we wanted a younger Polly and an older Polly. And we also wanted, them to be able to play off of each other. When one is the younger Polly, the other one is playing, say, her aunt Pauline and also her professors. And then we switch over to the other one playing the older Polly, and the younger one playing her love interest Rennie. and other people she would have run into in her later years.
Amazing. Went through the full piece for the first time, and the chorus was like, "Oh my gosh, like now I understand," and this and that on Tuesday. So it was really amazing. And this is a timely conversation for that particular reason. Is there, I we talked about Hold On being in the center of it, but
Hmm.
is there any other moment for you that's sort of a pivotal moment or a special moment that you deliberately tried to bring out or didn't deliberately try to bring out?
So to me, there are two really pivotal moments that actually stretched me as a composer. The first one, let me see if I can go to it quickly, because I have my score right here to consult. Yes, movement number four, Off the Rails, in which she finds out that the love of her life, Peg Holmes, got married to a man. And she goes into a mental institution, and it deals with her psyche, her going literally off the rails, as the song says. There's a song before this called "On the Rails" because her and her love interest travel America by hopping trains, and so to be able to go through these different quick phases of sanity and insanity was quite a struggle. But I'm glad that I was able to write it, and I'm glad it came out the way it did. And I do remember that both Jane and Kim, the librettist, were like, "What were you on?" Um, I was like, I was on Pauli. I was trying to figure. I mean, you wrote the words for me, so I was just trying to figure out how Pauli would feel and how Pauli would react. And the words brought, I just wanted to bring out the words that you wrote. And then the second one that really gets to me is movement nine, and which is grief and rebirth. It starts off with a quote from her and Rennie's favorite piece, which is a piano concerto by Schumann. And then Pauli just goes into this long kind of a cappella soliloquy of her mourning, which wasn't there in the first writing. That came later.
Mm, mm.
The librettist felt that she needed time to mourn, and we needed to show that. Um, and then slowly the choir comes in, and it kind of builds to this epiphany as she realizes it's time for me to go into the priesthood. It's time for me to serve in another way. So
That's my
those,
absolute favorite movement.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I love that movie. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear you say because I think that well, both of them are amazing, but that one in particular, I immediately was drawn to the idea of giving birth to yourself and that kind of thing. And it's
Yes.
interesting to hear that you added the sort of mourning part at the beginning because I think that really makes it incredible. So, yeah, thank you. Why does Polly's story feel important to share with audiences today?
If Paulie was alive today, she'd still be doing the things that she did 20 years ago because we still are having those disagreements. We're still having those fights. We're still having to strive for our rights. Um, and, she fought very hard for equality for women and equality for African Americans. And we're still having those struggles today. But also, it shows that what a person can do behind the scenes can have a tremendous effect on what others do.
Mm,
The last movement is called Be a Spark, which, most of her things that she did were sparks that set off other things. But if it wasn't for that spark, those things would have never happened. So we need to find it in ourselves to be a spark,
love
especially
that.
now. Yeah.
What is it? I guess that might be the answer, but is that what you hope the singers and audience will take away from it, or is there something
Yes.
else in
No,
addition?
no, no, very much so. Um, And I think both of these, that this one and the Byron Rest in Peace, the man behind the dream before it, were written to say, look at these people. They were ordinary people like you and me who had some extraordinary talents, and they used that to help others. What can we do in our own way, rather big, rather small, whatever, to also help others, and also to push for equality, to push for access, equity, and belonging. As humans, we all deserve those three things. So, what can we do to help us have them? So, yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Well, what a great conversation. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd want to share about your piece or just you or or talk about?
Um, I just have to say, I really wish I could be there to hear it. Um, and it's I find that every time I'm there to hear it and I hear the responses back from the singers and the musicians who are able to perform this piece, it lifts me up and it inspires me to write more and to tell more of these untold stories. You know,
Yeah, we want to make sure we feed you too. I just want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to do this.